Howdy YouTube, Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Today, part 4 of Incredible PBX. We're going to set up some phones. Basically, the phones that are behind me, I got a Grandstream, an Astra, and a Cisco. We're going to show you how the front controls on the phones work, how the menus work, that kind of thing. And then we'll cut over to the internet or to the web interface on these phones, and I'll show you what key fields you need to look at to get these phones set up for your telephone system, and how to customize the interfaces a little bit, not a whole lot. Now, we're not going to be doing a deep dive into these phones. I'm just going to show you what I know and what I know how to configure on these phones. I'm sure there are a lot more complex configurations you can do on these phones, but I'm just going to show you how I manually configure them and how I program some of the buttons, just to give you an idea of how everything works. But the first thing you're going to need is, there is some confusion for some of you that haven't used VoIP before as to the terminology. A phone line that the phone company provides you and brings into your home, or one that you get at work, they're all called the same. They're all called trunk lines, okay? And it's just a matter of whether you have a hardwired line from the telephone company or whether you're trying to do your voice over the IP, which is the internet protocol. So the two terms are synonymous. A trunk line is a trunk line, whether you get it from your phone company, whether you get it from your ISP, whether you get it from a separate company like I'm going to show you here with voip.ms. That's the company I use. I've used them for nearly 10 years now. I'm not saying they're the best. They're not compensating me for this video, but they're who I use because they just work, and they've got really great support, and so why shop? And their rates are great too, so why shop around for anyone else, right? Now, you don't necessarily need an Incredible PBX or Free PBX or Elastix or 3CX phone system to make all these features work for you. That's one of the benefits with going with a VoIP provider that provides you more than just a trunk line. You can actually just hook up a single phone to your VoIP provider right through its little web interface and have VoIP phones up and running with voicemail and an inbound virtual receptionist, whatever you want to do, and you can do that all through voip.ms. Now, we're not going to cover all that in this video because we have Incredible PBX doing all of those chores. We're pretending we're in a business environment, or you know, if you have a home with multiple families in it, you know, like multiple generations, this would be great for that. The other thing you're going to need is, if you're going to receive incoming calls, it's called a DID, or a direct inward dialing number, and it's basically a telephone number that you purchase. Now, if you already have a regular phone line and you want to use that telephone number, you want to keep it, you can do what's called porting of your telephone number over to your VoIP provider, and just whatever voice over IP provider you choose, just make sure they support porting your telephone number. So if you just have a trunk line, you can make outgoing calls, but you won't receive incoming calls because you don't have a direct inward dialing number. Now, my area code out where I live is 830, but I prefer to do business in the 210 area code, which is San Antonio. So that's the other benefit of VoIP, is that you can, if you want to have a point of presence and seem like you've got a big company in New York City or California, you can choose an area code in one of those locations and get a DID number to match that. So, you know, phone numbers are ubiquitous now. There's pretty much no more long distance fees in the US because of VoIP and because of the internet. So keep that in mind. You're going to need a trunk line, and you're going to need what's called a DID number. So like I was saying, I use a company called voip.ms, been using them for a number of years. You can bring your own device, it's contract free. You can keep your number. Remember, I was talking about local number or your number portability. You can do that. You have US Canada Enhanced 911. Now, I'm in the United States, and you have two choices. You can do pay per minute plan. They charge you 85 cents a month, period, per DID number. So if you had one phone number, that would cost you 85 cents a month just for that phone number. Then your incoming calls would be at 9/10 of a cent per minute, and your outgoing calls would be at 1 penny per minute. Now, I am on the unlimited plan. I pay $4.25 a month, and I get a DID number with that. My incoming calls are 0 cents per minute. It's unlimited, and my outgoing calls are 1 penny per minute. And this is a company out of Canada, and I've had no trouble with them at all. Now, if let's go on up to the features here, get an overview of their features. If you just want to connect a single phone up to voip.ms, you can do that, and you get all these neat little features. You get call hunting, digital receptionist, all the things you would have just like if you had an IncrediblePBX or free PBX phone system. They provide to you even if you're just using a single phone. So that's something to keep in mind. You don't necessarily need to have a phone system to have a VoIP phone. You can purchase any one of these phones behind me, and they will work with just about any VoIP provider without a phone system. So you can see you get voicemail, you get time conditions, you can do ring groups, all kinds of neat things. Account management, let's see, graphic user reports, call data reports, security email notifications, etc. And then inbound and outbound caller ID, inbound toll-free numbers. They'll sell you a toll-free numbers as DID, etc. And that's, like I say, that's who I use. And let's go up here and look at we already looked at the rates. Okay. Outgoing rates, termination 1 penny per minute in the USA, 1.6 cents per minute in Hawaii, and 3.1 cents per minute in Alaska. And then, like I say, what I have is the unlimited incoming for $4.25 a month, and then I pay for my outgoing minutes. There's a setup fee of 85 cents on this one. There's a setup fee of 40 cents on this one. You're limited to 2 channels on the unlimited plan. On the pay per minute, which is what most businesses would probably use, they would buy this, do this plan so they could have unlimited channels. And channels means simultaneous phone calls outgoing from your DID number at one time. And then you can click here and view numbers. They'll tell you what kind of phone numbers they have available. Local numbers, you can choose your state. Let's just pick Texas here. And then depending on, say we're in the Dallas area and we want a Dallas phone number or area code, we come here, $4.25 a month plus 0 cents per minute, view the available numbers. And these are just a list of some of the active phone numbers they have available, or inactive phone numbers they have available for the city of Dallas. So it's very simple to set up. Let's see, you can even get an international phone number if you wanted to. And their help center is fantastic. So they have instructions in here on configuring your phone systems with their trunk lines. I covered the trunk line creation in a previous video, but they explain to you what is a DID, what hardware is compatible, is it possible to port the number, does it cost anything to open an account, how about taxes. Now I use PayPal, and you have to keep a minimum payment of 20. You pay as you go. It's a pay-as-you-go wireless. So I fill up my account with $25, and then when it gets below a certain threshold, it sends me an email alert saying, hey, your balance is dropping low. But I don't believe you can deposit more or less than 25. So, and I just use PayPal to pay this thing. It just makes it really easy. I do a manual payment every month, but there you go. I would recommend strongly voip.ms. Start with them, and if you don't like them or if they don't have all the features you want, you can always go get another VoIP provider. They're pretty much all the same, but I trust VoIP not only with my business phone lines, but with 3 other clients I have are all using voip.ms, and they have 0 complaints. So we'll start here with the Astra phone. This is the Astra 57i, 6757i, or otherwise known as the 57i, which is now owned by Mitel, and you can see it's a nice phone. This is an old phone. I've had this thing for years. It's got a nice quality to the handset. You can see it's dusty. It needs a good dusting, a good cleaning. This is going to go to my spouse, and all of this on the front here is programmable through the web interface. I'm not going to go into extreme detail on how to do all the programming. I'm going to cover what these are up here. These buttons are, these are your top buttons. These are your lower buttons. I'm going to go over briefly what the buttons on the sides do, what these line buttons mean over here, and etc. Now, each phone is different, but I'm going to just use this as a reference to get started to show you the level of complexity on phones. So these buttons are pretty much programmable down here, as well as these up here, and we'll go over them on the web interface. But just to show you, if you press the services button, your services are a directory. You can get a callers list, that's missed calls or whatever, and then you can do your check your voicemail through here as well. You can select one of these by pressing this arrow up and down key, and then pressing select. And right now you'll see the directory is empty. And then when I'm done, I just quit right here. Same thing with the callers list. I can select that one, and it tells me right now the callers list is empty. However, if I were to call this phone, which is 210, let me just do that real quick. You see the server closet is calling now. It appears on the display. So if I were to come back later and go to services, and then option 2, which is callers list, it would tell me there was one new caller. I press the down arrow, it tells me it was a server closet. Okay, I can do that the same way I can do that here. Go all the way back to the main menu. Just go to callers. It does the same thing. That gives you your callers list. So that's what's in there, and I'll show you in the phone where that gets programmed. Directory we don't use, callers we do use. And then if I want to hit D&D, I could just flip that on. It would turn the phone on D&D, and then in the flash operator panel, it will show that my phone, it should show that my phone is on D&D. All right. And then these buttons down here are pretty much self-explanatory. If I wanted to call my desk, the work desk, for example, call the work desk, and it rings the phone right next to us. If I wanted to call my Joe's desk, you can hear it ringing in the background. And conversely, if I wanted to call the den, I would just press the den button and it would ring up there. Then over to the side here, we have our hang up button, which is the red button here. This little wrench icon is actually the main menu, to where you can go through and you can configure things like call forwarding. You can enter your preferences for your screen, get the phone status, the password, go into the admin menu. You can restart the phone, lock the phone, etc. So that's your for example, let's go into preferences. So we'll select number 2 and hit select. I can do my ringtones, I can do my dial tones, I can set my display. For example, the timeout on my display, the contrast level, etc. Done. Let's see, go up to tones and just show you what's in there. The ringtone, so I can select a different ringtone. I think I like that one, so I'm going to go done. And now I've got my ringtone set. Tone set is the telephone keypad tones, and they're different in different countries, so you have the ability to set that on this phone. Cancel on there. Done. Then display, like I said, you contrast level, your backlight, how long you want your backlight to stay on automatically. You have some advanced options here if you want to set the number of seconds that your backlight stays on. I'm just going to cancel, go back to done. And then let's see. Time and date, language, I'm done. If we go to phone status, that should tell us our IP and our MAC address, what LAN port we're on, what our PC port is on, firmware info, etc. So if we go down to firmware info, hit select, we know there's our firmware and our boot ROM. So once you get your phone, if you want to set a password, then you have an admin menu. You have to enter the password. It's 5 ones is the admin password, the default admin password on these Astra phones. Then you can restart the phone or lock it, like I said, and I'm just going to choose done here. These two buttons here are for your speaker. You can adjust your ringer, or if you pick up the handset, you can adjust the volume of the handset. Now this phone will also work with a headset, so if you were to buy a headset for this phone, it would work with that as well. These are your line buttons over here. This green button here takes the phone off the hook so you can dial directly, and then this red button hangs it back up. And then you can mute your microphone with this button here. For example, line 1, and we want to mute our microphone, we just press it and mute it. And then we have lines 1 through 4, so we can handle 4 simultaneous calls to our extension. All right, now let's go over to the web interface, and I can show you what where all these settings are kept in the web interface on the phone. So let's get started with the Astra phone. Now that you've seen the phone. Sorry guys, I'm parched today. I had to take a drink of water, and I'm going to vape through this. You saw earlier where we went through and we set up our network settings when we set up these phones, the global SIP settings, the line settings. You know, here's where my telephone number information is, the password. The key things are your proxy server, your proxy port, your outbound proxy, and your registrar server, making sure you get all those entries right. This is basically the IP address of the phone system that this phone is connecting to. And then what I did was I came up here to the soft keys and the XML, and you notice on that phone system I had some top keys and I had some bottom keys. So the top keys, here's what they're programmed for, and I could I don't see if they don't have a default here, but for example, they've got it set up as services, directory, callers list, speed dial. These are the DNDs I programmed in there. They're called feature codes to turn the DND on and off. And I really don't need services in there, so I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to actually put speed dial in there for, I want this to be my voicemail. Key number 1, I want it to be voicemail. So I'm going to call this voicemail. And it is a speed dial, it's just a dial code I'm going to be entering, so that's star 97 if you remember our voicemail. Then I'll come down here on this one and set this to none. And the line number is what line you want to use. Well, I only use a single line on these phones. All these lines are the same through the same account. So I don't use directory, so I'm going to get rid of that until it, I'm going to move callers list up 1 and see if I can find the callers list. Do you see it here? Yeah, callers list. I'll put that right here. And then number 3, I want to be my, let's do that, we'll do a speed dial, and we'll call this DND on, which is star 78. And this one will be DND off, do not disturb off. That'll be star 79. And then we'll leave this one blank here. Okay, so we have up to 10 top keys we can program in here. So I put voicemail on 1, my missed callers on 1, DND on and off on 3 and 4. Let's see here. They do have a BLF, but I've done those elsewhere. I'm just going to leave these at what they are, and I'll show you what those changes look like on the phone. So we'll click on Save Settings. Then I'll come back to that again, and I'll go to the bottom keys. And right now I've set this up as to BLFs for my desk phone, my work desk. And then I'm going to add one here, another BLF, Busy Lamp Field. And I'm going to call this Cisco Desk. And that is 207, I believe. Yes, save the settings. So what that'll do now is that will set up the busy lamp fields for 4 of the phones, the extension 200, 205, 206, 207, and then the top keys will have these functions. So we'll cut over and I'll show you what that looks like on the phone right now. So you can see now I have voicemail up here, my callers list, my DND on, my DND off, and then I have my busy lamp fields here like my Joe's desk phone, work desk, den, Cisco desk. So for example, say I pick up the Cisco phone next to me here. We'll pick it up real quick and we'll dial a line, and we're dialing 210, and you can see on this phone 210 is busy. I haven't programmed that in there yet. Let's call 205. Well, how about we do that? That'll give you a little bit better example. 205, dial, and now you can see the busy lamp field for the work desk is flashing, I answer the work desk phone, you'll see it goes red, indicating that the work desk phone is busy and that this line is active over here on the Cisco. And so you see the Cisco desk phone is busy and the work desk phone. And when I hang up the phone, it ends the call and the busy lamp fields go out. So that's basically how that works. And then my voicemail.
You have no messages. Press 2.
Okay. My callers list, so any callers I had missed. And then my D&D on.
Do not disturb. Activated.
And then my D&D off.
Do not disturb. Deactivated.
And I don't know how to program the little lights to light up. That's another video. That's another whole other video in itself. But if I figure that out, I'll do an addendum to this video. But that's basically what the programming of the XML keys and the soft keys does on these phones. All right, so now we're back at the Grandstream phone, or we're up at the Grandstream phone. So you have a couple of different options here. I'm at the account status on the main page. So if we go into virtual multi-purpose keys, these are the ones I have programmed. These are the 4 on the side of the phone. So I did a busy lamp field for Joe's desk. I did a busy lamp field for Andrea's phone. I did a busy lamp field for the den. And then I haven't done one yet for the Cisco phone. So if we come here to settings and come down here to programmable keys, virtual multi-purpose keys, I should be able to edit it here. And we're going to do busy lamp field, but you see you have all these other options. Well, you don't see it. Let me switch this view over. You have all these other options on the drop down here. So you can do busy lamp field, you can do a speed dial, you know, any number of these options here. I'm going to do BLF because I like knowing when other people are on the phone. So I'm going to type this Cisco desk, and I think that was extension number 207, right? So we'll save it and save the VPK. And now we will have a busy lamp field not only for these phones. Oh, I chose the wrong line. I want to do that on account 1. Save that, and then save the VPK. So we have those four multi-purpose keys set to busy lamp fields. You can program to anything you want. And then the soft key settings, I don't touch these because I don't understand how these are set up. So maybe in a later video I'll show you how to set those up once I've figured them out. But I don't want to tell you how to do anything without them without knowing what they are. And then they have something called idle screen soft keys. I don't know what these are either. We are on the latest firmware version, so I'm going to wait, and we'll do this maybe in an advanced video. But I just wanted to show you how to set up these busy lamp fields for all the phones. So that's how you do it on the Grandstream. So anyway, here's our BLFs. So for example, if I were to pick up a phone over here and call 200, you'll see it rings my desk phone, and then the phone lights up here for this phone is in use and this phone is ringing, etc. Same way with the Cisco desk. If I were to pick that up and to call another phone, you'll see it lights up the Cisco desk, and when I answer extension 210, you'll see that it lights up both of them. So that's how the busy lamp fields work on that. These buttons can also be used for speed dial to call another phone. Buttons are self-explanatory: voicemail, phone book, transfer. This button is for three-way calling, pause, headset, and then to mute the to microphone. This is to turn the ringer volume up and down, or the handset volume up and down. I'm having some problems right now with this phone, thinking it's off the hook for some reason, but we do have our we do have our weather set up now, so it's showing San Antonio, etc. This has been a problem phone, as you know. We've had it in here to do an eval on it, and this is one of the things it does is the off hook button will just stop working. So the other thing I could try to do is hard reboot the phone, which is what I'm going to do. But the menu button is right here. If you press that, you have your call history. You can have your phone status, contacts, any messages. You can reboot the phone. You can get some system information. You can do your SIP configuration here, and you can also set your preferences here. So that's basically the interface on the Grandstream 2140, and you saw how we programmed these buttons in here. These are the other buttons, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that I'm not sure how to program, so I don't want to give you bad information, but suffice it to say that's how the Grandstream phone works. Alright, so now it's time for the Cisco phone to get into the mix. Now, this Cisco phone was donated by Sasha Lopez out of the UK, and perfectly good phone. I'm not a big fan of Cisco, anything made by Cisco. I think it's overcomplicated for what it does, and this phone does not disappoint as far as that comes, as far as that's concerned. I do have it in a power over Ethernet port up here, and like I said, with these tough switches, you got to be careful because you have to manually set the power over Ethernet, and it can either be 24 passive or 48 volt. So you have to be very careful. Don't plug something into this. It doesn't support PoE. With the PoE turned on, or you're going to have problems. Anyway, I'll show you the Cisco Web Interface here in a moment, and out of all the web interfaces, it is the most complicated, but I'm going to show you how I figured out how to get around in there. The programmable buttons, I'm either too stupid or I just don't know enough about it to know how to program these buttons. These are supposed to be, I don't know whether these are supposed to be programmable buttons or these are. I can't figure it out through the interface, but eventually I will. Because it'd be nice if we had some BLF capability like we do on the Astra and the Grandstream phone, but it is what it is. And it's really weird. You would think you press the center button like you do on the Grandstream to get into the menu, but you don't. You press this button down here to get into the menu. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. But hey, it is what it is. And then they have, I do have to say that the interface here is pretty dang inclusive. I mean, this phone's got Wi-Fi. One thing it doesn't have is gigabit Ethernet. It only has 10/100. So if you plug this phone in, you need a separate line for it. You don't want to run your computer through it because you'll only get 10/100 megabit speed. But as you can see, it's got quite a few options in the menu. You can pretty much configure everything here from this interface, password, etc. But I use the web browser to do most of it. Now I did do a firmware upgrade on this back when I had this on my 3CX phone system. It had done a firmware upgrade when it went out and provisioned the phone. Now, this is where I disagree with a lot of people. If you're doing less than, I don't know, 20, 30 phones, I just provision the phones manually. There is provisioning software you can use for the phones, but I found it overly complicated to use. Now, I haven't used it in a couple of years, and the 3CX was fairly straightforward, but there wasn't a lot of customization, but we may save that for another video. But what I want to do now is show you what happens if I call this phone from another extension. So let me do that. So there's what it looks like when it's ringing. It tells you where it's coming from. It shows a little ringing indicator, etc. Now, if I were to pick up the phone, you notice there's no BLF for the other phone. So I picked up the other work desk phone, and of course, let me call the phone here. Call the one next to it. You can see nothing indicates on the Cisco that lines are in use or other phones are in use. So, and if I find out more information on this phone, just forgive me because I'm not familiar enough with it. And what I'm going to show you on the configuration side is just how to get it set up with IncrediblePBX so that you can get a working phone line. And as you can see, it is working. And you can adjust the volume. And then you hang up right there with that button. Now, it does have Wi-Fi built in, so that is a plus, although I would never do, personally, I would never do a VoIP phone over wireless, but in a pinch, if you need that functionality, it's in there. It's a good, solid built, quality phone. it's made by Cisco. You get what you pay for with Cisco. But as far as bells and whistles, I'm just probably not familiar enough with the phone in order to be able to tell you what it can or can't do. But as I learn, I'll update this video. All right, now let's go take a look at the web interfaces on these phones and see what kind of settings we have there. And welcome to the lovely web interface of the Cisco phone. Oh no, that's not intimidating at all, is it? I mean, this is just the initial page. And I'm on basic. I don't even have advanced selected, because if I were to click advanced, it'd really blow your brains out. But I've been able to get the phone to connect to my phone system by just following some simple steps here. As you can see, the phone is on DHCP connection, so it gets everything it needs with the exception of time servers from the network, and it programs itself. And then under, let me see, is it system? No. Let's see. Let's go to advanced settings, because I believe under here, yeah, I put my primary NTP server right here, pool.ntp.org. Let's see here. There's another place in here where we need to change our time zone. I don't think it's here. Let's go to SIP. I'm trying to remember where it was that I changed our time zone. Come to provisioning. That may be where it is. Provisioning. No, it's under regional. Forgive me. So under regional, and you can see there's a lot here. Let me change it to basic. And go to regional. There's your time zone right here, GMT -6. So I go here to system. Let's see here. So you don't see it unless you're in advanced. You don't see that option to under system to change your primary NTP server, which is going to be important. You want these phones to have the correct time. So make sure you get that set in there. And then under SIP. Let's see. They don't make it easy here. I don't mess with any of the default settings. I just change the ones I know need to be changed. Let's see. So here's where I put my station name, station display name, voicemail, dial star 7097, and let's see here. That's it for this field, or for this tab. And then what I do is, for the first extension I'm using, that is my primary one. So what I do is make sure the SIP port is set here. All the other I'm ignoring, okay? And I come here and make sure I've got my proxy. And actually your outbound proxy should all be the same. And you can come in here and flip that. I always fill that out anyway. You want it to register the device, and then what you'll do is you enter your display name, your user ID, which is typically your extension number, your password. You can put authorization ID in there if you want to, and then you just submit all changes, and the phone system will go out and program itself with those settings and reboot. And then when we come back to Flash Operator Panel, once the phone is done rebooting, it only takes about 30 seconds for the Cisco phone, and you can see it's now back online. So those were the changes I made to the Cisco phone. The rest of it don't worry about. Now, we will come back to the Cisco phones later and learn how to program their interface, their soft keys or whatever. That'll be for a more advanced video, but this is the basics you need to get that phone set up so that you can use it with IncrediblePBX. Now all these phones behind me are all PoE phones. The 2140 GXP Grandstream is a 10, 100, 1000 megabit phone, so it supports 10 megabit, 100 megabit, or 100 megabyte, 10 megabyte, and gigabit per second. So if you were to plug your computer into that and use it as a switch, you'd have your full gigabit speed. The Astra 57i is a PoE phone, but it only supports 10, 100, so I would have a separate line run for that. Same way with the Cisco 50, I forget which brand it is, 525G I think, phone. It is only 10, 100. It does have wireless, and it does have Bluetooth built in. So in essence, you could have a Bluetooth headset with that phone and be hands-free on it. So that is one advantage to that Cisco phone. but you're going to pay a premium price for that. Now all these phones are also support headsets. They'll even I've been lucky enough to have them support the little earbuds that you use with your Apple iPhone. Those tend to work on these phones as well. So if you're not a big fan of a headset and you want to use the little earbuds with the microphone on it, it will work on these phones. I have tested it, and of course they all have speaker phones built into them as well. I just don't like speaker phones because, you know, everybody can hear your business. So, but there you go. Those are the phones. That's how I have them configured. The very basics of covering the programming the buttons on the phones. Now it's time to put them in place and put them to work. Now everybody knows I'm the king of cheap, and I had some people comment on, you know, either you like Grandstream phones or you hate them. But I've had very good luck with them. I have 3 major installations that all I used were Grandstream phones, and out of those I had trouble with one of them, and it was a firmware problem, and once Grandstream helped me with that, I no longer had a problem with the phone. What I do have problem with is the cords on the handsets and the handsets themselves. People tend to be abusive to desk phones and slam them down and, you know, pull the cord 340 miles, or they like to twist the cord. So, and that's with any of these phones. In fact, the Astra is the only one that I've never had a problem with the cord on the handset. But, you know, it doesn't mean you're not going to have problems with Grandstream phones. I've had people chiming in in the comment section, oh, Grandstream's junk. Okay, well, whatever, but, you know, if they were junk, they wouldn't be in business for very long, and it's not my job to defend Grandstream. I'm just telling you, all I can give you is my personal experience, and I've had, you know, pretty much zero. You see how how old some of these Grandstream phones I have here, and they're still going. I mean, they're just still running, so don't be afraid of Grandstream phones. But if you prefer Gnome, or if you prefer Cisco phones, you can pay the price and get Cisco phones. I really, frankly, don't care what phones you buy, as long as they work for you. I'm happy if you're happy. Alright, so that's going to do it for part 4 of IncrediblePBX13. We've got we got everything installed now. You should have a fully functional phone system. Now look, I've had some people ask questions. I'll try to be as helpful as I can on email and on the comments section. But if I don't know, if, for example, some of you are over in Europe or in the UK, I do not know how to set up dial plans for people in the UK. But if you call, if you're using voip.ms or another provider, they usually have complete and concise instructions on setting up dial plans to get your phone systems to work. And if not, give them a call or send them an email, and they will help you wrap your head around it. I mean, after all, they want your business. So call them and they will give you some help. And voip.ms, they have an excellent wiki article out there, or just do a search on Google for dial plans for free PBX. Remember, Incredible PBX is just a bunch of software on top of free PBX. So if you're a free PBX user, you'll be golden, even if you're not running Incredible PBX. They're pretty much the same phone systems. It's just there's other bells and whistles added on there. So, and our next video in this series, I don't know when it's going to happen, but we'll be covering some more advanced topics like creating time-based conditions, IVR routing, if you have more than one phone number, how to ring it to specific extensions, etc., caller ID, that kind of thing. That'll be in video number 5 of this series. And then as I learn new things on the phones, or as I get new phones in here and start testing them to replace some of these older phones I have, I'll give you my undiluted review on these phones as to whether I think they're any good or not. So there you go. We hope you found the video entertaining and informative as always. Give us a thumbs up down below. Smash that like button. That's the smash the like button. Bam. Smash it. Thumbs up. Leave your comments in the comments section. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, please. We love our subscribers. And ring the little notification bell next to my channel information page, so that you get notified if there are new videos. And on YouTube, you have a section called subscriptions. So if you click on that little subscriptions on the side window, you'll see all of the people you subscribe to, any new videos they have. That's another way to keep informed. So thanks again for watching. We appreciate it. If you want to throw some money our way, we take PayPal and Patreon. It helps keep the channel going. And we'll see you on the other side.